Hello friends and welcome to edupediaworld.com. Continuing upon the theory of cost, today in this session we'll be starting with analyzing the cost-output relations. As we all know, that objective of any business organization is to maximize their profits, and they do that by minimizing their cost of production. The cost of production is always related to the unit of output produced, that is, it increases with the increase in the units of output. But here, in this session, we'll be analyzing not the absolute change in the cost of production, but the marginal and average change in the cost of production. The direction of marginal and average change in the cost of production is determined by what is the cost function. Now, as we have already discussed about production function, that is, it signifies a relationship between the input used and the quantity produced. Likewise, the cost function is a symbolic statement of the technological relationship between the cost and output. It is represented like this, that is, total cost is always a function of the quantity produced. That is, total cost depends upon the unit of output produced. Now here, the change in the total cost divided by the change in the quantity produced will always be greater than 0. Now this means that there is a positive relationship between the total cost of production and the quantity produced. That is, with the increase in the quantity, the total cost of production will increase. Now, specifically talking about cost function, how it will look like, it always depends upon the time period, that whether we are considering short run or long run. So now we will start analyzing the cost output relationship starting with short run. Short run cost output relations. In order to understand this better, let's first understand that what is a short time period. Revising upon, short time period is a time frame where some factors of productions are fixed and others are variable. Likewise, the fixed factors of production bear fixed cost and the variable factors of production bear variable cost. Short-run cost-output relations basically analyzes various types of cost, and these are as follows. First is total cost. As I told you, in short run, some factors of production are fixed and others are variable. Likewise, they bear the fixed cost bears fixed inputs bear fixed cost and variable inputs bear variable cost. So, the total cost is divided into two parts, that is total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Total fixed cost will always be fixed in the short run for any number of output produced, whereas total variable cost will change with the number of output produced. The next cost is average cost. Average cost consists again of average fixed cost and average variable cost. Now here, as we know that we can calculate the average cost by dividing the total cost with the units of output produced. Likewise, we can calculate average fixed cost by dividing the total fixed cost by the unit of output produced, and we can also calculate average variable cost by dividing total variable cost by the units of output produced. So, average cost is equals to average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Then we have marginal cost. Now we can calculate marginal cost in two ways, that is, we can divide the change in total cost with the change in the quantity produced. And the other way is we can subtract the total cost of producing n minus 1 unit from total cost of producing n units, where n is the quantity produced. So this is how we calculate the marginal cost. These are the various types of costs which we have to analyze in the short run. Now let's look at what behavior these type of costs show when we increase the number of units produced. We have taken this example. Here the quantity is produced up till 10 units. The total fixed cost, as I told you, that it will be fixed in the short run no matter how many units are being produced. So it is fixed at $60 for every level of output. Total variable cost, as discussed earlier, increases with the increase in the output. So we can see that when there was no production, that is 0 units were produced, the firm don't have to bear any variable cost. When the firm increases its level of production, that is 1 unit, the total variable cost was $40. Likewise, it is increasing as and on production is increasing. Now you must be wondering that why the firm is bearing total fixed cost even at 0 unit of production. See, even if there is no production in the organization, the firm has to bear the cost of land, the cost of building, the cost of maintaining plant and machinery. So fixed cost is always the firm has to bear even if there is no production. That is why the firm has to bear this $60 fixed cost even when there was 0 units produced. Now we take out the total cost by adding on the total fixed cost and total variable cost. For the first case it would be $60, that is $60 plus $0. For the second case it would be $100, and likewise then $136, then $168, then 200, 235, then 276, then 322, then 372, then 429, and then 490. So likewise we calculate the total cost. So total cost is equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Now talking about the average fixed cost, very simple. We divide the total fixed cost by the quantity produced. So we get the average fixed cost. So likewise we calculate the average fixed cost, $60, that is $60 divided by 0, so 0 in the first case, then $60 divided by 1, so 60 in the second case, then $60 divided by 2, so 30, then 20, then 15, then 12, 10, 6.67, and then 6.00. So likewise we get average fixed cost. What about average variable cost? It is calculated by dividing the total variable cost by the quantity produced. So in the first case the average variable cost will be 0, that is 0 divided 0. Then second case $40 divided by 1, so it would be $40. Then $76 divided by 2, that is 38. Then likewise we calculate the average variable cost. So this is how we calculate the average variable cost. And then we have to calculate average cost, which will be equal to average fixed cost plus average variable cost. That is, in the first case it would be 0, then $60 plus $40, $100, then $68, then $56, then $50, then $47, then $46, then again $46, then 46.50, then 47.67, and then $49. What about the marginal cost? Marginal cost, again we calculate by subtracting total cost of producing n minus 1 unit from total cost of producing n unit. Now here in this column, let's see that what is total cost of producing n minus 1 unit. And total cost of producing n minus 1 unit is 60 and total cost of producing n units is 100. So we get marginal cost of producing 1 unit by subtracting 60 from 100. So in the first case it would be again 0, then 100 minus 60, that is $40, then 136 minus 100, that is $36, then 68 minus 136, that is $32, then 200 minus 168, that is $32. Likewise we get the marginal cost. So these were the various costs which we have to analyze in the short run. Now you must be wondering that why we should go for such a tedious calculation, like what benefit it would give to a producer in order to calculate all these costs. Now see here, if we look at the behavior of change in the various costs, we get to know a very important thing. If we see the total cost, it is continuously increasing. But if we see the marginal cost, it is continuously decreasing up to a certain level. After that, it starts increasing. So what does this shows? This shows that up till 4th unit of production, the productivity is the highest and the cost, that is the change in the cost, is the lowest. So the producer in short run should not go beyond 4th unit of production in order to maximize his profits. We can see here that marginal cost is continuously decreasing up till 4th unit of production. After that, it starts increasing. And due to this behavior in marginal cost, we also see that total cost up till 4th unit of production is increasing, but in a decreasing manner. But after fourth unit of production, it starts increasing at a increasing manner. That is, the rate of increase, the rate of change in the total cost after the fourth unit of production is increasing. So if a producer has to know that at what time frame, that at what unit of production my profit will be maximum and my cost will be minimum and the productivity also will be maximum. So analysis of these various costs will help him to do so. Now we can graphically also represent this and get the various curves. Let's see how will a total cost curve look like in the short run. On x-axis we take the quantity and on y-axis we take the total cost, the total fixed cost and the total variable cost. As total fixed cost will remain fixed for every unit of output produced, so we get a curve which is parallel to the x-axis. This is a total fixed cost curve. It remains fixed for each and every level of unit produced, and it starts from zero because the firm has to bear the total fixed cost even if there is zero level of production. What about total variable cost? Total variable cost increases at a decreasing rate initially, but it starts increasing at an increasing rate after a certain unit of output produced. This is the total variable cost curve. It is increasing initially at a decreasing rate and then it starts increasing at an increasing rate. What about the total cost curve? The total cost curve will look alike and will show the same behavior as shown by the total variable cost. What we do is we add the total fixed cost to the variable cost. That is why the total cost curve starts from this point, that is from the point where total fixed cost curve has started, and it also increases at a decreasing rate and then it starts increasing at an increasing rate. So this is the total cost curve. We add on the total fixed cost to the total variable cost and we get the total cost curve. Now same ways we can also get the average cost curve and marginal cost curve. Let's see. On x-axis we take the quantity produced and on y-axis we take the average cost and marginal cost. Now here the marginal cost, as already discussed, initially decreases and then it starts increasing at a increasing rate. Up till a certain level of production it will decrease, and as soon as the production level is increased it will start increasing. This is the marginal cost curve, and the average cost curve decreases then it starts increasing. So this is how we see the behavior of the marginal cost and average cost. Now analyzing the marginal cost and average cost, we get three types of pattern. Now you can see here that the marginal cost cuts the average cost from below, and that too at its minimum point. We can also see it through the table here. See, when the average cost was 46, the marginal cost was also 46, and that is the minimum point of the average cost here at the 7th unit of production. After that, the average cost has started increasing. It became 46.50, 47.67, then 49. After this point, the average cost started increasing and the marginal cost has cut the average cost at this particular point. This is denoted in the graph also. See, here it is cutting the marginal cost curve here at this point. That is at its minimum point. The next thing which we can see through this graph is that the rate of increase and decrease of marginal cost is more than the rate of increase and decrease of the average cost. This we can see through the table also. See, average cost is decreasing at a slower pace. It became $100, then 68, then 56, whereas the marginal cost is decreasing at a faster pace. Similarly, when the average cost starts increasing, it is increasing but at a slower pace, whereas the marginal cost is increasing at a very fast rate. And the marginal cost starts increasing before the average cost. So that is why the average cost curve is above the marginal cost curve. Marginal cost curve decreases and then it starts increasing, whereas the average cost curve is slowly decreases and then slowly it starts increasing. So we can conclude to three behaviors shown by average cost and marginal cost curve. That is, first, average cost decreases at a lower rate than marginal cost. Second, that marginal cost increases average cost also increases, but again at a lower rate. And third point, that marginal cost intersects the average cost curve at its minimum. So these are the three conclusions from this particular graph. Now looking at this graph, so after analyzing the various cost curves, let's now return back to the law of diminishing returns. The law of diminishing returns can be seen here very clearly. It states that as an on we apply more and more of variable inputs to a fixed factor of production, initially the marginal cost will decrease and then it will start increasing in the short run. So analyzing the cost output relationship in the short run basically helps any producer in order to maximize his profits by minimizing his marginal cost, because at that particular time period, at that particular unit of production, the marginal productivity will be the maximum. So we end up by analyzing the short run cost output relations. In the next session, we'll be continuing with analyzing the cost output relations in the long run. Till then, have a nice time and thank you for watching Edupedia World.